a nonviolent revolution begins with exactly what you were saying. The first, we have to look at ourselves. First, we have to realize where we ourselves have a shadow side. Every movement has a shadow, just like every person has a shadow. And the left has its own shadow: self-righteousness, lack of tolerance for people who don't agree with us, projection of blame onto other people no matter what, failure to try to understand those people who simply do not agree with us. There's a particular shadow on the left where you start blaming and deriding and trying to cancel even people who do agree with you. But there's one little issue that they don't see completely eye to eye, off with your head. And also, as you're referring to online, Twitter, social media exacerbates all that. So a lot of emotional self-discipline is necessary in order to be a nonviolent activist.
I mean, how do we get there? How do we get there?
You say, how do we get there? But I don't think you really mean that, because just from your conversation, it's clear that you know how we get there. It's done on an individual level. It's done through prayer. It's done through meditation. It's done through mindfulness, done through a commitment to forgiveness. It's done through a commitment for self-awareness. I'm going to look in the mirror. I'm not going to make it about the other person. What was my part in this? Only, as the Course in Miracles says, only what you are not giving can be lacking in any situation. So when you say, how do we get there? I think we get there in the ways that we've all been talking about for a lot of decades now. If we bring it into politics, which is, how do you see yourself as an instrument of love? How do you see yourself and become, with conviction and dedication, an instrument of peace? Now, what you said before was, even to look at things that way is almost antithetical to politics. I would submit to you, it shouldn't be antithetical to politics. Politics is simply the container for our collective behavior. So if right action, integrity, mercy, compassion, justice, and humility should be our dedication as individuals, then it needs to be our dedication within the political sphere. There have been enough people who have demonstrated this. Gandhi demonstrated this, King demonstrated this, and others. This idea that it's antithetical to politics, no, it's not antithetical to politics. It's antithetical to today's establishment politics. But that's why we have to recreate the field. And for those of us who are into higher consciousness and, personal growth and all of that, every field we have touched, we have transformed. Medicine, healing, education, even sciences, the whole system, holistic, integrated perspective, transforms every system it enters. And the only reason we haven't transformed politics yet is because we haven't gone there. So you begin a new conversation. Werner Erhard said you can live your life one of two ways. You can live it out of circumstances, or you live it out of a vision. And the new politics begins with a new vision. And it's no different than everything else that we've all been talking about and studying for the last few decades, applied to the larger sphere, which is what politics is.
Do we do this from within the system, or disrupting the system and asking for a change of it?
I'm big on both and. I think most people are today. It is a whole systems breakdown. There has to be a whole systems approach. And I also believe that every individual is guided to the sort of dharma, to the piece that they can best play. Electoral politics, however, I think, is a kind of collective assignment. You're assigned to a podcast, for instance. Somebody else is assigned to the labor movement. Somebody else is assigned to writing a book or independent media. But I personally believe that electoral politics cannot be left out of the formulation, even while we work on things on the outside as well. In the United States, the big question is, do you work within the two major political parties, or do you work outside? And I think that has to be a very individual. There is no inherent objective right answer. So once again, and if you're going back to nonviolent political philosophy, Gandhi said that the leader of the Indian independence movement was the small, still voice within. So all of us have to follow that small, still voice within. Run or don't run as a Democrat, run as third party. And each of us are assigned, just like the cells in the body are assigned. You're assigned to Canada. I'm assigned to the United States. Somebody else is assigned to Europe. Somebody else is assigned to Africa. We all have to think of ourselves now as the immune cells in a very wounded body of human civilization. And just like the cells in the body are assigned to where they need to go, so are we when we listen to the guidance of our natural intelligence. When the cell goes to where it is led to go, it is then at its state of highest actualization in a collaborative relationship with other cells in order to serve the healing of the organ or the organism of which they're a part. And that's what's happening now. You and me doing this podcast together. It couldn't happen if it was only one of us. For that reason, I think you and I agree, it's also a very exciting time because you feel this activation of the immune system and you feel the yearning that so many of us have to be part of the healing and to be part of the repair.
I love that. And you're so right. That analogy of the body really shows what collaboration can create in terms of that same holistic look.
Not only that, when a cell, for whatever reason, disconnects from its natural intelligence, forgets its collaborative function, goes off to do its own thing, that's cancer. And that is a malignancy not only in the body, it's a malignancy in consciousness. And that is the problem with the human race. The human race has been infected with a malignant consciousness, the very thought that it's all about me. The human body cannot survive when its cells say, it's all about me. I don't want to serve the healthy functioning of the lungs. I don't want to serve the healthy function of the pancreas. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. Oh, really? And you're going to bring other cells around you who are as dysfunctional as you? That's a tumor, and it sucks the life force out of the system. And in my country, that's how rugged individualism has transitioned into rugged narcissism. And it is sucking the life force out of my country.